take some notes, but not necessarily, because it's all divine information. Actually, you know it already, and actually, it should sort of click into things that you vaguely, unconsciously already know. Because what we do here is really not made up by me. Well, you could say that the tools are made up by me, but it digs into what is in creation already true. So it's some sort of divine wisdom of your human architecture that we're excavating, sort of. So it's already here. You already know this, but we bring it forward. Money is energy, is such a divine wisdom that you may already know. Money is energy on the divine money path. Money is always energy. By the way, people are upset by the word energy, but I always think that is so funny, because don't you have an energy bill that you pay every month? Don't you switch on the light bulb at night when it's getting dark and you want to see something and you want to turn on the lights? Don't you switch on that light button? You see? So that works with energy. Because I heard someone once say, I don't believe in energy. Well, I don't know how your living situation is with your house, but I mean, that's sort of impossible. Energy is not something that you need to believe in. It's just here. And money is energy. Yeah, it's just sort of capturing energy and quantifying it, right? And then trying to put it in its numbers so that it sticks around. And there are boundaries around that. And then that works really well. So, true. But since money is energy, since money is energy, is what I wanted to say. Since money is energy, you're also going to have to look at what that can be more than only, those numbers with boundaries around them. Boundaries around them can be like on the bank. Like bank guards those boundaries. Are there other things, that when you look at the energy part of this equation can be actually, in spiritual sense, be very important to know. So that's why we are going to talk about what even is the divine money path. What is soul money? Well, I just sort of started to talk about that already just now. Who I am, in short, I will shortly introduce, and there are testimonials of what we do. So the divine money path, manifesting your divine inheritance. Yes, because that energy that soul money is, means actually, for instance, also that you can go to that energy in itself and there have your money, like without working. Really? Wow, that sounds a little out of the blue, but maybe it can. And maybe that thing that is already there, that is lying around there until you claim it, could be called your divine inheritance. It's made of energy, it's sort of piled up, it's already here. Because it's energy and it's spiritual, it's divine. It's your inheritance because it came with your soul on the earth already, just like that. Okay, so that's your present. The point is, it's already here. Your abundance is already in and around you. It's in your soul and or your energy, which is closely related. Your energy is like the beaming out of the soul. The flow through the soul, that's energy. The stream of wind going wonderful places inside the soul. So an innate energy is your divine inheritance. That energy is your money. It's already here. It's in you, around you. But it's in the soul, it's the soul's acquisition that you already came on the earth with. But the point is that it's invisible. And that can be a little spooky to us. So we have to have ways to uncover that present that is some sort of invisibly waiting for us to claim. So that's a huge challenge, and maybe that will be not very straightforward for you, like, bam, there it is, okay, I get it, I claim it, and that's it. Finished. Dead. It will be a little boring. So there is a journey to that. There is a journey to gather in that energy, to gather in that divine inheritance, to, make sense of it while it's happening. Stack pieces onto each other so that the conglomerate of energy is growing and you understand yourself in that. And that's how you can also build for instance, your business on it and in it. And make use of that co-creation between your business and your energy present that's already here for you to claim. So all these things, they can happen on a journey. It's a path, and a path means that when you go it, you're on a journey. And many times we think that a journey means that we're going overseas, taking trains, and move over mountains and then swim through the sea back. But that's not necessarily always going to be a physical journey. Although it can be. It can be a journey done in consciousness, in your feelings and thoughts. So when are you on that journey, on that specific divine money path journey? How to know that when you're traveling over sea, over mountains, or in your consciousness, in your thoughts and feelings, or both at the same time? How do you know that you're sort of doing it right? How do you know that you are on that divine money path and not on something else? Not on the ego money path or on the ego food path or something. I don't know, I'm just making that up. So this is how you know. And there are, I believe, 4 points to know. One is you open yourself to learning again, even though you deem yourself already educated. Yeah, because sometimes we're like, I know a few things about spirituality in my kind of way. Maybe it's like meditating, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's astrology, maybe it's, I don't know, man, having some life wisdom. And you're like, I'm already educated, man. But that's not how it will work for you to be on a divine money path. You will need to open yourself. And learning is actually following your creativity. Those two things are the same. Did you know that? Learning and following your creativity means going the path. It means making steps. It means doing the journey. So when you're not open to learning and to following your intuition and your creativity, you cannot be on a journey because it's made out of steps that are set in that realm of trying to be creative and open to new things and stuff. So really open yourself, because otherwise you won't get anywhere, you won't be on the path. And also, second idea, choose the shortcut presented to you by the divine and you persist, even though it may go down at first. So when you're then on that path and you are taking guidance from your intuition and creative action and stuff, you choose the shortcut that is presented to you by the divine. You don't choose to roam around endlessly. You choose when it's presented to you in your intuition and your inner hearing, the shortcut. You choose it. You hear when it is that, and you choose it by the divine. Yeah, the divine will present it to you. And that shortcut will be sometimes a little different than you think. So sometimes it will be a little difficult. Sorry, I want to say difficult. But the point is that you persist on that presented shortcut route. And you persist even though it may go down at first. Well, later more about that. That it can be a divine way to make you aware of some things that you actually will need to overcome and learn and heal. And then later on, that will stack up intensely at your benefit. And you will not going to believe how much you will grow later on. So on the Divine Money Path, view 3, allow yourself to finally stop reasoning against yourself because things are different than you think. Well, I already said that a little bit, right? Things are different than you believe they are. So when things are seemingly going down, they're only seemingly going down. And things are different than you believe. And you allow yourself to stop reasoning against that divine shortcut wisdom that you heard, which means the same as reasoning against yourself, because of course you are of divine inheritance. You are of that. So when it starts to speak to you, it is you. And you need to try to stop reasoning against it. You know, you may, like, your guidance may say, yeah, we're going left, or we're going to get this new job. But you will think like, well, then it goes down because I didn't want a new job and now my time will be eaten by that new job. And I thought I was going to need that time for building my business. And this is not fun. The job isn't even fun, but it makes a lot of money. But my whole idea is that I'm going down now and I didn't even want that. But you're reasoning against the option that God gave you to take that option because for this time, maybe a few months or however long, this is the best option for you. And you will be surprised how much it will gain you in the end. You will, 4, accept that guidance truly exists, although it may sound different than what you previously liked. Well, that's in the same example, right? So you have to accept it. And to be able to hear guidance, inner guidance, you first have to accept that guidance truly exists even. Because maybe there's already a lot of guidance inside of you, but you're not listening to it. You're like, yeah, no, I heard something, but no. It will always be this whispering voice that some sort of comes underneath or sometimes a little slower or behind the ego blurping out blah, blah, blah. But then you listen to that whisper. That is the guidance that you're here for. It may sound different, but you're here to learn to distinguish that. Go for it anyway. Oh, there's a 5th one. That's true. 5, you commit yourself to the best outcome for you through the outcome, through the eyes of the divine, in your heart, unconditionally. Yeah, you need to commit to it as well because you can hear guidance, you can do it, execute it, but yeah, you just need to commit to it from the heart out. So what really helps when you're going to do this is the ultimate strategy. And the ultimate strategy is a tool that we invented. And it's like a sign. It's like this road that has a bend in it. It's like it first goes down and then goes up and then you'll rise. So that's what you see there. You see this road, and first it goes down and then it goes up and then it rise. And when you're going down, you're like, yeah, but this can't be the divine road. But when you're super high, just a small amount of time later, unexpected things have happened between both situations. You never would have guessed that was going to happen. But when you're like that super high place, you're like, oh God, had I known this, then I would have trusted more. Well, there you are. But the point is, we're not even going to be high, because being high is in a sense, not peaceful, and we really want to be peaceful. So that's why the arrival is, in a sense, a little bit more modest again. So the ultimate strategy actually describes this bend in the road, and makes it easily accessible for you. We can actually not even in this webinar go to this ultimate strategy fully. That will be available in other webinars on other topics, and of course in our coaching and stuff, because there's so much to be said about that. But here you have like an outline already about what that is and stuff. And yeah, it just means that the stages in that will be described, for instance, and that really helps to know where you are. But there's a lot more magic to be done about it. For instance, you see, when you turn that bending road in a vertical position, you can imagine that it's actually not a horizontal journey, but it's a vertical person that stands there or sits there, and that, well, it's almost even the spine or something, like the person is in that sign in a vertical sense, and on that road are 9 points, like resting points on a journey, that will correspond to different points on your body, and your body will have a correspondence directly to your energy. Hey, we had energy when we talked about money, so soul money, soul energy. Okay. So, and that's why the description of those 9 points on that road will also be applicable to your body and your energy. And so it becomes even a healing path, a healing thing inside of you. And that's why it works on so many dimensions at the same time. So we have 9 points in the body, like above the head, on top of the skull, in your third eye area, in the heart, like in the pelvis, on your legs. They're like different areas and like points to focus on in your body and energy body. So, yeah. But there's much more, as I said before, magic to be gotten from that, because there will be like an order in which to give those areas attention and stuff. And you can exchange that order to get a multiplied healing effect and whatnot. So really, really amazing. And we have a book that describes this 9-point system. And one of the green books, as we call it, that holds the educational baseline is 9 Entrances to Conscious Creativity, a quick guide into eternal education. I wrote that to outline this 9-point healing system with like symbols as well and stuff. So then you get even a symbol for each point in your body and energy, which is then also going to form a symbolic language. So that can be a magical language helping you as well. And we won't be able to go in that either, but you can always buy the book on Amazon or Bol. It will be an ebook this time for you. So what we will um, focus on for now is the heart, like the center of that whole system, the center of that whole journey, that whole road, that whole path from which, going this path is led, in fact, right? That would be, by the way, on that 9-point system would be number 5, but anyway, here we have a golden heart. I like that a lot. It's really also the golden consciousness, how we call it, the heart consciousness, the highest consciousness that we stand for. That is really on that place as well. And yeah, may our divine money path be led from that place. And it's just right inside of you, so don't worry that you don't have it or something. That would be funny. That's not true. And later on in the webinar, you will start your divine money path journey from the heart. And we'll be doing that together, guaranteed. I like the tree. It's not only your road, but the tree will grow. Oh, amazing. So, soul money, what is that? It's always in which value will come to you. True. Because we talked earlier about energy and stuff, right? But to approach that energy, of course, it's numbers in the bank account, but maybe there are other ways that contribute when you're conscious of them to that sense of the money in the bank, numbers in the bank. And why not support yourself with those extended meanings? You will see that it will support that money in the bank so much. It will be on the divine money path going in your kind of way, right? Not in another kind of way, in an abstract, other people's kind of way, only on your kind of individual way. But you will find that out what that is. So what is soul money? I made a channeled definition. And it is the money that you can download right now in your bank account from your invisible divine inheritance through available interest in your value exchange proposal linked to your true mission. So it is the money that you can download right now because, as we said, that road is very long and we're happy about that. And there's a certain amount of the energy that you can download right now into your bank account. But in the next step, next week, next year, and even next lifetime, because this is an eternal theory, so to speak, you can, download, materialize, manifest a next batch. It is the life force energy in your body vehicle system made visible through having enough being so that your crescendo in action brings it in. That's true because that's how also our path differs a little bit from, like, for instance, business building coaching solely because we bring in a spiritual journey. And that means that that we bring in the idea that it's not only action that brings that energy to money in your bank. It will need to be connected to your beingness, to your spiritual ground. And yeah, and that will be, you will be able to discern what that is first in your body vehicle, in your body energy, in your energy body. And because that is then connected to your spiritual being. And when that is connected enough, only then, many actions make sense, because otherwise you won't be connected to your divine inheritance, but maybe only to like your external self in a sense. And that can be wonderful, but it's just not what we're doing here. So here you can get your entire divine inheritance, right? And that will also be coming with ease and with the ultimate partner, and with being your full self and your true self, and also your true mission, which was mentioned just before a little bit. That's true. Your true mission is something that you don't even choose, but it's waiting for you to activate it and claim it. And it will be connected to everything that we're talking about in a full way. When you're able to pronounce what that is, oh man, you will be on your way, skyrocketing in this direction. So, what is soul money number 3? It is your value that you have through surrender to your blueprint. Whether that blueprint is really connected to that mission, you don't even choose it. You don't choose your blueprint, it's just here. Whether you make it visible in plus or minus numbers, which is interesting because you can also always make the value where you are now visible by, putting numbers in a row that are connected to your life, but it doesn't really matter if they're above 0 or below 0 because it always represents a value. When it's above 0, it's wonderful because that's what you can spend and invest again. But when you have numbers below 0, those you can really, really wonderfully acknowledge because that's an investment that you made, and it will, of course, specifically in this context, give you a wonderful return on investment. Value in being expressed in language, or value coming to light in relationships. There are actually like 3 things are summed up here, and one is like those numbers, and it doesn't matter if they're plus numbers or minus numbers. And the second thing that is expressed, that value is it is expressed in language, so words. That's why magic formulas and words are so wonderful. And it being expressed in words, in language, can also be like, I can say to my partner that I love him or her very much. And of course, that is value expressed in language. And that's like a super simple example, but you can also build an entire coaching business with your language because it's you that can bring to life energies and meanings with your words that would otherwise stay unnoticed. So words are incredibly value expressors. Don't underestimate them. And value coming to light in relationships. Absolutely. When you can truly connect to your own soul, then other people's soul will come to light up for you as well. And you will start to co-create between those souls, and worlds are created between people in such relationships. And it's even more wonderful when those relationships can be real soul relationships that you don't choose, that come with your blueprint, that are already here. You cannot even help it. And they do exist, and they're much closer than you think they are. And this is really something that you can achieve on the Divine Money Path as well. It will be incredibly powerful to you. You won't believe. And I highly advise that because it's very, very intertwined with what we're doing here. So that means that the first relationship we're talking about is with the divine. The second relationship we're talking about is with yourself, your soul. Tune into yourself, in the deeper self of you, and get to know that, what that is. And then the third place is your true twin flame, or your ultimate co-creational partner. That is the one that belongs to you. You cannot even choose that, which sounds a little absurd, but it's a perfect relationship nonetheless. And that true twin flame relationship, I would call it a harmonious union, and that is also absolutely possible with what we're doing here. And it's actually incredibly intertwined with the golden flow state of being, as opposed to the harmonious union. The golden flow is more the money and value related state of being that we're talking about here. Well, that was a whole bunch of information all in one for you, but there it was. And yeah, so in relationships, whole worlds are born because when you have those three relationships with the divine, with yourself, with your ultimate co-creational partner, that is your true twin flame, in order, and you will also get to know your true soul family, not like, oh, I like these people, they're my soul family. No, real, actual soul family. They can come to light as well. And then you will also get to understand who is your soul family in a wider description, right? In the sense that this is my tribe. I like these people. They're my soul clients. They're my friends and stuff. That will also become clear then. Yeah. So what do you need, to get all of this in the definition of soul money to come to life to you? So there are three things, A, B, C, and you need faith so that trust can grow. That's true. Faith means that you do trust the divine so much, even though you cannot see it. And then the trust in what you can see, and relationships there can also grow because you have that foundation of the divine, faith foundation in the divine to support you. And it really helps to be sensitive. Yeah, so to not only be sensitive to the world and other people and everything, things, but to the inner world as well, just as much. And to balance that out, by the way, as well. And in that sensitivity, not only for the outer world, but for the full inner world, also completely, and balancing it out, then creative flow. Well, creative flow that will streamline your journey. What is that? Well, you will come to know that. Come to experience what that is. And see what do you need, knowing that your one blueprint comes to light as your unique how. Yeah, so your one blueprint that you cannot perhaps visibly see yet, that does exist and is unchangeable in creation, built into creation. It comes to light as your unique how you're doing things, how the energy flows through how you do things. And that is for your unique way of doing things. And it will be having a taste, It will be, oh, that's your thing. And of course, it comes to light your way of doing things in the triangle of sex, God, money, divine feminine, source, divine masculine, feeling, being, structures. So that is very recognizable as what I just explained, like the divine feminine, source, divine masculine. That is like, it's like this triangle of always have source, so the divine, and then you have divine masculine, divine feminine as that partner, that pair that is inside that true twin flame harmonious union that you will find there. And there are different ways of seeing what that is, because that source that will be always, the middle point, the focal point, the essence, and then we have like masculine, feminine as a sort of two things. So that makes a triangle, right? And you can fill in different things in that triangle, like God in the center and sex and money. So sex will be more like feminine and money will be more like masculine. Some sort of, it's a symbolic way, but it helps. It brings clarity, I promise. Or being as the center and feelings and structure. So 3 extra notes are important here. Your true mission may be different from what you think you are. That can be hard. But eventually you'll be so relieved and happy and rich. Wealthy, just happy, all of that. To a crescendo in action makes only sense when you can remain in relationship with being. Yes, that's sort of what we said already, right? Because otherwise you will be going to your ego only. And that ego is nothing wrong with it, but it needs to be fully connected and sunken into the deeper you. It is always advisable to bring in refined money and business skills. Yeah, like the normal business coaching that is taught a lot these days. Always good to bring those in. However, they will need to be attuned to these elements that always prevail in them. This is foundational. That's true. So that's at least what we're doing here. What we're doing here is first have these principles and then bring in business skills, etc. Refined money skills. They're wonderful, but you will be coming into this grid work. That's what we're doing here. Don't be mistaken, we do in fact not advocate barter deals, because maybe you can sort of deduce from this like, oh, so money doesn't actually matter, business rules, who cares? So we can just exchange some food for some action and just do something and, just who cares about structures? No. We do in fact honor money as a concrete thing that needs to be protected and have boundaries and structures. So we do, for instance, in a financial sense, not advocate barter deals and teach mainly how to stand autonomously in money environment built by yourself as entrepreneur in your business. That's true. We do teach how to stand autonomously in money and business, and that will be very much as an entrepreneur. And we absolutely have everything in line to do that for you. And when you look at it like that, then it starts to sound like, hey, now we're talking about me economy. So that will be the me, will be the you, it will be the soul, it will be soul deep you. And it will be your economy that you are starting to build from the soul out, from the divine out with your divine inheritance as the base. So that is really a whole topic, and we cannot even get into that right here today, but it is about your creative identity, your divine identity is what that means, right? Your way of doing, unique you. And you're doing that, your soul mission that belongs to your divine blueprint. You are going to create your own market with that, and you can even become sort of a creation coach, helping other people, reach what we're talking about in your specific way as well. And you will be working on an entrepreneurial base in the economy, and that means I will be saying what that means. But this economy thing is actually more described as the entire thing is more described. The entire path is more described in this book, the other Korean book, Emerald Itinerary. Petra's Life Magic School Curriculum following the Ultimate Pleasure Path to Perfection, which is also available as an ebook on Amazon and more. But the entrepreneurial base means, in this light of today, that you're just an autonomous being. And then on top of that, spiritual truth, you're going to build your business. And we see that as one continuum. So that means that you're going to discover your being. So that will be the sense of, hey, I'm this body, but there's an energy shining from me. Let me honor that. And then there is a creation layer in that. You become aware that you're part of creation and that out of you comes creativity. And that means something, it's valuable. You can even build a project with that, from that, on that, and then it becomes more fully rounded than creation and creativity, which may result in a work of art. But now we have a project and we really start to incorporate other people, for instance, as participants in that. And when we have projects, hey, suddenly we can ask money in return for the value of our projects, and we start to have a business. Well, that's the sum in this diagram. Now it starts to shine and be clear what the value is, how to ask money for it back. It's suddenly really a business. When we're going to go on the entrepreneurship layer, then we combined all the layers before in one conglomerate. Who am I and why do I teach this? So In the past, I was a poet. I'm a published poet in the Netherlands, acknowledged on the artistic side. And I also studied art history and architectural history. And then I worked a lot with museum art of all ages, but especially modern art and contemporary art. And that made me a museum teacher as well because I taught children and grown ups. So, yeah, I had this role of teacher, but also performer because as an author, I would read my poetry. But then I learned business, and my mission was to connect creation, creativity, business, and my divine mission. Because I had, in fact, a spiritual teacher all along while I was doing all of the before. So I tried to connect all these things creation, creativity, business, and my divine mission that was supported by my spiritual teacher that I had all along. And then came this beautiful time in my life when I even met Shiva or Enki or the big master. And I truly met him. I don't mind what you think about it, but there it is. I have put a picture of one of his forms that he can appear to on in the world. These archetypal gods and pictures are real, and they have many forms all over the world, but they just refer to one idea, principle. But it's also true. It's real. It's a person. I met him, and that was a chance of a lifetime because this is what I had been longing for many lifetimes, and this changed me for the better. And him and the other masters I since then worked together with fully and consciously. And that is the masters that I mentioned there. But we work together in a spiritual sense. Although they're just normal and they live on the earth, we work together in a spiritual sense. So, and we, what I call we is more me and my co-creational partner, my true twin flame. And we're very connected to the magician's power. And between masters and magicians is the word school, and that's because there's only one true school in the world, and that's sort of in the spiritual world, in the invisible realm, let's say. That's the co-creation between the masters and the magicians. And it manifests into their school and our school that are physically, in fact, like separate schools. And you're in the school of the magician, or in the build up to go to that school. So I'm happy, Chet, that you're here. I do have one testimonial selected of a wonderful person that was in my school or the build up to the school that were in this time and place. And that's B, and B was even in my marketing. You see that on the pink uh, picture. You see her next to me. That was on Instagram because we had a little project together last year, um, allowing people in to come to us to be coached in self-love. And B was for 3 years with me. She was sort of on the path to, well, she was actually officially on the path to her co-creational partner, to her true twin flame, to her harmonious union. And one of the things that she did was, well, in that little blurb of her writing, it says the creative ID reading was amazing. I definitely cried while reading it. That was just one of the small things that she said and that she had done was the creative ID reading to understand better her twin flame journey. But she was actually on a larger program that was supposed to, give her a deeper insight in her own spiritual journey and make possible for her to go to that harmonious twin flame that she longed. And I have known her and sort of worked with her over a period of 3 years approximately. She has invested around 1,111 euro with me, but she had invested also in related programs. that I back then worked together with for a couple €1,000 as well. She did a lot of inner work, and that's why she was able to, in 3 years, get to that harmonious twin flame union. She really did that. She made it completely, and that was because she did the inner work. Inner work, inner work, inner work. The outer work was for her maybe a little bit lacking. That's also why the project that you see is currently not here anymore. And the true goal that we have in my business, the 1,111 money goal, was, you could say, when she was at her harmonious twin flame union, she reached that through that amount of support that she emotionally experienced with her true twin flame in that relationship that started up. That's what she confessed to me. But the outer work was in a sense lacking, like the outer work, like the outer business and the insight in business, how to build that up, and the money itself and stuff, was for her at this point a little bit lacking. And maybe that is also why I actually want to teach not only harmonious twin flame union, like that partnership, and then reach the point of where we want to be, but I also want to teach people the golden flow, and that is more the money and the outer work and the business side of things, and that was a little bit lacking for her. So all these things, this was a wonderful client. She did completely, extremely perfect, but there are parts that she made come true and parts not. By the way, she also fell out of the harmonious twin flame union as a state of being. They're still in a relationship, but that state of being wasn't sustainable in her. So this is just informational. This is not a judgment. And it's also wonderful to see how, like for me, like what to do in new phases in my build up to sort of fine tune this for you. Very successful for you. So we now get to the 4 mistakes and how to avoid them. We do. So when you're going on that path, there are 4 mistakes that I see a lot that are made. And one bonus mistake, but I will present that later. And the first thing that I see that goes wrong is control. This is the biggest mistake. Control is the problem. It took for me some years to understand what this even was. It took for me really insight in how I was controlled before I could really see it. Although I already knew for years that it was the biggest problem. Control is doing as if feelings need to be pushed out into the world from your ego. It's doing as if action needs to come from the ego, and that is pushing it onto other people. That is not what is conducive. That's control. It is a certain energy that can even disguise itself as spirituality. But it's not helpful, and you will not reach those goals that we just saw, how they worked out for this wonderful client of mine in the past. Entrepreneurship building for women as a go-getter that gets everything they can place their hands on. Yeah, that's also control. And although it may work, because women, for instance, push women to push others to get money in the bank. And that can work, but it's not what we're doing here, because that's control. And you won't be getting this divine money answer. You will get an ego money answer. And when you want that, it's okay with me. It's just not what we're doing here. The idea that women need to become go-getters before they can go to their guaranteed outcome we have here. So that's not necessary. The idea that men need to be controlling their women emotionally, that's also control. Of course. But also the idea that men cannot be spiritual, emotionally in tune is also control. Because men can be totally spiritually, emotionally in tune. And correct their women. Which is not controlling them. So here's also where you see that this is for men and women equally. The second mistake that I see made is not being yet in the world, but not of the world. It's wonderful to be in the world in an economic sense. But when you're thinking too much in the societal ideas of what professional development is, what productivity needs to be, and what is acceptable to have your money come from and you believed in that all in a too high of a degree, then you just forget to give space to your individual soul development and being. So you're like too worked up about the morals around money that are prevalent in our society right now. I'm not saying that you should not be moral about money or not play with those rules. You have to. But it's not you. There's inner space inside those rules. If you cannot be open to that, you will be lost in all those rules and forget the essence. And you will not be able to be truly creative while still be working with. Later on, you will build with reconnecting yourself to the current culture again. Yes, sometimes you really want to forget about that whole cultural money thing for a little bit to really focus on your inner soul development with money in your kind of way. And when you do it like that, you will be later on reconnecting to the world, to the established world. But now you have that foundation established, That's then it will be guided what there will be needed for you and how to reconnect to that money world, professional world, to that productivity world, so that it will be fully conducive to your soul money and divine inheritance. Not doing the inner work. Yeah, so I said about my client B, she did the inner work for 3 years, full time, well, except her money jobs that she had, during which she probably also did the inner work. So, outer work, fine, but you have to do the inner work as if it's your profession. On this journey, right? If you choose just journey, inner work means processing your feelings, your emotions. And when you have no faith, there will be a problem. Thinking that the divine money and the divine marriage, because, yeah, as you noticed by now, we sort of have two topics, divine money and divine marriage, money and love. That's true. In this webinar, we're really focusing on the money department, but yeah, we do have that other divine department too, right? Thinking that divine money and the divine marriage do not exist in itself, but seeing it as being a nicer version of what you have now. That means that you don't have faith that it truly exists. Because, yes, there is a gradual sense of healing. There is a gradual going on that journey. But you have to understand that there will be a moment on that path when something from the beyond you cannot predict nor expect will come to you and will transform you. And that will give you a state of being. Golden flow or harmonious union. Golden flow for money, harmonious union for that marriage or that love. And that can be done by faith. And in a sense, that will then feel to you as if it was not a gradual thing that came onto your road, but it came from somewhere else. Suddenly, like a miracle. And that is what we do here. So only seeing this journey as a gradual, nicer version, although that is, in a daily life sense, very much what is happening, and you can enjoy that, and that's also the idea to enjoy that fully. In the end, you will see that with faith, you will get those states of being. You will experience that that is not just a nicer version, but it's the alive, miraculous blueprint in itself that is shining and being there already, and it just comes to you like that. It's a thing in itself, and there it is. Now you can accept it in. And then you see that you, until that point, have just prepared yourself to be able